Hello once again and welcome from David from the Modeller's Friend to another unboxing video. This time of a Trumpeter 1:16 scale T34 76 from 1943. This is the first of the Russian tanks that I've unboxed, but it's the third I'm going to have built. I've built the Hobby Boss T34 85, which, similar to the Hobby Boss Tiger that I unboxed in one of my previous videos, was very much a toy. A previous remote control model that had been reboxed, for want of a better word, and sold as a kit, which was very, very basic. I guess that is reflected in the price of something between 50 and 70 of our English pounds. But again, it reflects it. It was pretty basic. Don't get me wrong, an enjoyable build. It was the second 1:16 scale model that I'd actually built, the first being the Hobby Boss Tiger. So it was an enjoyable build, especially as an introduction to this scale. And I would recommend it. I'd recommend it over the Tiger. If I'm completely honest, for two reasons. One is it's a little bit more interesting, that's in my opinion, obviously. And the second is more historical, which is factual. The fact that obviously Russian tanks were so much cruder, if that's a fair terminology, and more rustically built than the over and highly engineered German variants. And this shows in the suspension on the T34, etc. And the SG100, which is the other one I've built, but that is a Trumpeter model, and that had a full interior and it was an even better build for me to take part in. Again, the price reflects that it has a full interior over the previous T34 85 that I built, and that is almost, well, it is more than double the price. But if you're looking for an interesting build, I'd highly recommend anything from Trumpeter, to be perfectly honest. I know there are others out there, Das Works, Andy's Hobbies, which are fine models. But if, again, you're looking for an introduction to this scale, I don't think you can honestly go wrong with Trumpeter, given their range of both Axis and, well, Soviet vehicles. I don't believe Trumpeter do an Allied 1:16 yet. I know I Love Hobby do, I Love Kit, and his Hobbies, obviously. But I'm not sure whether Trumpeter. Again, please comment, like, subscribe, but more important, comment if I'm wrong. I am always on the lookout for more Allied 1:16 armour, especially if somebody would come up with a Matilda 2 or a Cromwell, or even a Sherman Firefly. Please, please, please do something like that, and I will happily throw lots and lots of money your way to build them. But anyway, that's my soapbox moment over and done with. Now, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to be perfectly honest in the interest of full disclosure and all the rest of it that goes with it. I have opened this before, but only to remove the sprues from their plastic bags. Because a couple of comments have said, can you please show us a detail more on the sprues? We can't really see very well through the plastic. So I have done just that. I have removed the plastic bags, placed the sprues back in the box in the order from which they were originally packed, and put the lid back on. And that was about half an hour ago. So I've gone downstairs, had a cup of tea, come back up and press record on my iPhone. Now, hopefully, talking about iPhones, you can see I go off on a tangent before I actually come back to what I'm talking about. I thank you to those of you that have watched, liked, commented and subscribed to my current and previous videos. I'm frankly amazed that so many people have watched them, and incredibly grateful as well. I am looking at doing more variety. As I've said, I want the Modeller's Friend to cover more than just plastic models. But again, without boring you, and those of you that have watched my videos, you'll know I've not been well, and I'm still not well. So I can't really go out of the house to get to my other locations where my railways are, or my other railway clubs. So at the moment, I can only do unboxing videos because that's all I've got stuck in my loft. And when a friend of mine comes around and I send him up the loft ladder to bring down a couple of boxes ready for me to do my next one. Hence the rather, I wouldn't say long, the rather odd or different time spans between each video. But I've got this one. I've got a Panzer IV ready and waiting for the next one after I've done this. But getting back to the Trumpeter 116 T34 76. I'm not going to tell you what the 76 means. I'm sure if you're looking at this scale, if you're looking at this tank, you already know. For those that don't, it's the caliber of the gun. As I mentioned, the T34 85 that I built was the upgraded 85mm gun as over the 76. But that's as far as that goes. Back to the unboxing. So, oh, sorry, you can tell I've taken this because everything moved in the box, but this one does, I'm glad to say, have a full interior. So again, I'm really looking forward to that build. As I said, the SG100 that I built did have the same, have a full interior, but I'm of two schools of that. As I said before, I build the interiors, but I don't paint the interiors, because I find as soon as you put the shell on, or the top of the hull, the turret, and potentially close the what am I talking about, people? Come on, tell me. The word has escaped me. I cannot believe that. And close the hatches. That was the word I was looking for. You can't see any of it. So, as I said, I build it because I've paid my money, but I don't paint it. So on the side of the box, you've got pretty much the same as what's on the front. On this side, exactly the same. I've already shown you that side, some of the finished options, and on this side, looks like exactly the same, or not far off it. Actually, you've got a photograph of the top as opposed to the side, some more views from the exterior, and one looking into the interior hull without the turret. So that's the box. Again, nice box art. I like the box art. I do have to say, sometimes if it's got a decent image, I do tend to cut them out, and I haven't done anything else with them other than just keep them. They might adorn the wall of my hobby room or hobby building when I finally get it built. They might just go back in the recycling. But if it's a nice box art, I'll keep it. So, off with the lid. Oh, you can see it moved. So anyway, that was supposed to be over that side. That was supposed to be there. But you get the idea. So, what do we got? We've got a cardboard box on this side. Oh, no we haven't. We've got two cardboard boxes on this side. So, let's start with the cardboard boxes. Another copy of the box art cover. I'm guessing on internally here, you've got suspension springs, brass wire for the cables, polycap for the suspension, some photo etch, which I'm not sure, and I'm not going to guess where that's for just yet. A nice outline drawing of the tank, some outline drawings of the underside of the hull, the top section of the hull, and the engine and gearbox and final drive, and the same line of drawing on the outside. So I'm guessing as soon as we open this, oh, it says exactly what it says on the tin. The two sections of the hull, both lower and upper. First impressions, not bad, bit flimsy. I've just finished Andy's Hobbies M8 Greyhound, and the plastic on Andy's Hobbies is fantastic. It really is. I can't find a bad word or term to talk about it. It's just amazing. This feels slightly flimsier to Andy's Hobbies, but it is a nice texture. It feels, and on closer inspection looks, like it's the cast sections of metalwork as per the Russians would make, i.e. the sand to break them out the mould after casting. So yes, it looks nice. How was the welding? reproduced. Not that well, to be perfectly honest. I think whether you can see some of that. I've seen on some Trumpeter models it done a lot better than that. There's the photo etch inside. I'm guessing, it's quite weighty actually, 2 or 3 pieces. I say I'm not going to guess what that's for. Well, you obviously got some grills for the outer hatches and the outer grills for the engine covers, etc. The rest could be for ammunition, because it's quite repetitive. But again, I'm guessing. But I'm sure the instructions will tell us. Grommets, etc. And a lamp lens for what I'm sure would be the wheels. Oh, this one's nice. Again, where a big difference from the Hobby Boss T34 85 that I built. No battery compartment, so I'm guessing that this has been designed from the offset as a plastic modeller's kit and not a reboxed toy, for want of a better description. Hopefully you can see in the light there the texture on the sides of the steelwork and the front that tries to represent, i.e. the sand that's needed to break them out of the mould after they've been cast. So that's the hull. In the rest of the box, oh, nicely stapled to the side of the box, that's nice, so it doesn't rattle and doesn't come loose. We've got springs. Now I know after building a Hobby Boss these are for the suspension, so I shall leave those there. I'll put this back excuse me, these pieces back in this box. Put that to one side. I'll complete the boxes first. Again, I'm guessing this has got the wheels in it, mainly because there's a picture of them on the side. Let's have a look. Yeah, wheels. There we go. You can tell I've not opened this one before because these are still in the plastic boxes. So, road wheels, potentially a final drive wheel there. But I'm not sure. But wheels. Can't think of any more to say about that. Wheels. So, that's that box gone. Oh, there's another box here. Hang on. Oh, tracks. Sounds like a jigsaw. Yes, it does. So again, outer surface of the tracks, inner surface. Boxes says pretty much the same. Oh, gives you the options of the other T34s available. I might have a crack at doing all 4 of these actually, because I do like the T34. I think it's a very nice tank and it gives you some options. This one, as I said, the 1943 variant, but it does have a winter variant there. I think that's 1941, if memory serves. Then you've got 2 T34 85s. As I said, I've done the Hobby Boss one, but I might have a crack at one of the Trumpeter ones just to marry it up with this one. And they'd look nice next to my SU100, which currently is away in storage, so I can't show it you, but at some point I will. I've done that as a green Soviet 1943 variant. Or 44, I can't remember, to be perfectly honest. But I'm having trouble getting this box open, that's a fact. Come on, here we go. Yeah, look at this. Track links, yeah. Track links, more track licks. And more of the same. I'll see more. And we've got some outer wheel tyres. Reasonably well detailed. Some work got to be done on moving some of the, or getting rid of some of the mould lines. Or you can choose whether you cover those with muck or sand, only on the bits that's visible once the tracks are on. So, box number 3. So, let's get inside here. Move that to one side. First bit off the top. This is the back panel. That's the front panel or lower panel. And we've got a saw, a hatch cover, some towing hooks, some hatch eyes and a light. yeah, all very well. Again, nicely moulded. Not a lot of flash, if any, on nearly all of these pieces. The saw teeth are quite prominent. Again, nice clear bolt heads and nicely moulded. Yeah, I can't really say an awful lot more about that. A little bit of flash around some of the smaller pieces, but nothing too concerning, nothing that won't clear off easily. So, next one, turret mantlet and engine covers. These I know go on either side of the back top of the hull. Once again, very little flash, nicely moulded, included detail good. Where you need them to be, they do exactly what it says. It's a little bit of flash around the finer vent louvres, but again, nothing that a competent modeller with a good knife or a scraper won't be able to deal with. So let's go to some of the smaller stuff, where I'm guessing some more hatches, some drive linkages, a little bit bent there, but potentially when it's stuck or placed on the model, it should resolve itself. If not, a little bit of heat will soon sort that. Looks like periscope internal grips for the moving of the periscope or the outer vision panels. Gun mantlet, here we go. You can tell it's a 76 variant because it's got the rather oddly shaped gun mantlet on it. A nice fan. Fan looks nice. So again, I'm sure we'll all know, all the instructions will obviously tell us where all these pieces go. This one. Oh, we've got some, looks like shell boxes, some ammunition boxes, some mud guards, and some inner components, along with, looks like what would be a radio or a communications device. Again, as you can see, hopefully nicely moulded, some very nice detail on there with very little flash. Now, I'm not sure when this kit was produced or the date of the tooling, but with some of the older Airfix models, you can tell the tooling is wearing out somewhat because as they are injection molded, the plates don't come together as well as they would have done in the early days, and some of the plastic leaks out from the side, hence the flash. And I'm not talking pow pow pow, you know, the flash as of Marvel. Or is he DC? I think he's DC actually, the Flash. Yeah, I think he is. He's Justice League, not the Avengers, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, out my inner nerd. So again, I know there's a website. I think it's called Scale Mates or something of that nature, where it does give you the history of a kit. For example, when it was first released, when it was reboxed with some new box art, when new accessories were added to it, i.e. photo etch or new ammunition or armament or ordnance even. And that's a very useful website for reference. So you can see where some manufacturers, I won't name them, Airfix, tend to rebox a kit that was produced in the 70s and charge you even more money for it, which I think is a little bit off, if I'm totally honest, which I'm hoping to be. I'm not biased. These aren't paid promotions in any which way, shape or form. As I said, I'm grateful for comments, your likes, your subscriptions and your views to any of my videos. If I believe they are being watched and enjoyed, I will continue to make them. If not, I'll stop and do something else. Build more kits, probably. But in the meantime, yes, I'm sure it's scalemate.com. Again, if I've got that wrong, I'm sure I probably have. Comment. I don't know why I'm pointing down. Comment down below. And tell me and advise and share the knowledge and the information with our fellow modelers to make life easier for us all. So again, suspension arms, towing hooks, These will be the caps that would go on the inside, or the hubs of the other wheels, and other bits that I'm sure I know where they go, but I'm not going to go into it too much detail. A little bit of flash on some of the hooks there, but again, I'm not going to keep going on about the flash. It's minimal on this, to be perfectly honest. Moving on to the turret. Again, nicely moulded. The included detail is very nice. Not too much work needed on there to tidy them up. What I do like is the moulding is on the underside of the detail, so when you do cut them off from the sprue, you're not left with a mark where the moulding texture should be, instead of the white line or white mark from where the sprue was. But again, that's the turret, both top and bottom. Very nice, not much more to say about that. Moving on to the other side of the box, more engine hatch covers. I know they're for the exhaust, that's probably for the rear engine access. More access hatches, more grills. Again, you can see they're nicely done, nice and clear. A little bit of cleanup, but not much more. Towing hooks, handles. Again, nicely done. Detail where it's needed. And the ejection marks are all where they're not seen, which is a very nice point for us modelers, so we're not all sanding, filling, and if you will, unnecessarily filling injection, or not injection, projection, or the points that push the finished sprue out of the mould after it's been done. You'll know the word. Oh, hang on, slightly different colour. Here we go. Now that may be because these are for the interiors, such as crew bottles, compressed air. Oh no, but there's some hatch covers here. Oh, they're seat bases. Oh, sorry. Machine gun. Again, I'm just pointing out the pieces that I'm familiar with. Medical box. But other than that, I'm not overly familiar with all the pieces. But again, I'm guessing because these appear to be like drive handles, foot pedals, and everything else, that these are mainly for the interior of the tank, as opposed to the dark green pieces, which are the exterior or the engine. Familiar with some of these pieces, i.e. the large fan that goes on the rear of the engine before it goes into the engine bay. Again, final drive covers, clutch plates, gearbox covers, etc, etc. Again, all nicely moulded. The detail where it's needed is very nice. You can see that on this piece here, and all on the rivets or the mounting plates for what would be the vein, or are the vanes, on the fan on the opposite side. A lot of this which would not be seen once the engine is complete and in place, but it's still nice to have them, and thank you, Trumpeter, for that. It is appreciated, but then again, we pays the money. If we didn't like it, we wouldn't buy it. Looks like a second variant of one of the previous other sprues, letter H. Yes, it does, just from a cursory glance across it, so you've already seen one of those. This one, now I'm trying to rifle through this a little bit without waffling too much, because nearly all my videos, and believe me please, it's not planned, but they are coming out at roughly 30 minutes. So it does take a little bit of watching, and once again, I thank you for it. It is extremely appreciated, and hopefully you enjoy them, but I am trying to get down to keeping them shorter. But being unscripted, and you've probably guessed I do waffle, I'm finding that a little bit difficult. But hey, every day's a school day, and I will try and learn a little bit more. Gun barrel, pieces of the gun, and other pieces, which again are nicely moulded, zero flash, and of good quality. Another machine gun there, nicely done, nicely done. And onto some light pieces. Now we're getting towards the bottom of the box here. Now I know what these are. These are the internal covers for the suspension. Hence, because when I built the Hobby Boss variant, I know exactly where they went. And the internal bulkhead between the crew compartment and the engine bay. Some other nice pieces. Once again, all control handles, if they're on there, or if they needed these cables and wires, they're all nicely done, all nicely presented. The ones that are loose but clear on this junction box here, or fuse box even, or whatever, I'm not a Sparky, are all nice with the minimum of cleanup needed, and clear and nice detail. And again, I'm guessing that's why these are this colour, potentially. I'm guessing, not stating it as factual knowledge or of my own knowledge, but these are probably the correct colour for what would have been in the interior, or is indeed the interior of said tank, which, if they are, is a nice touch. But then I'm guessing because the lower hull is green, I don't know. As I say, it might need a little bit more work, but obviously the engine isn't this colour, or wasn't originally, so that theory probably doesn't stand up, in all honesty. But once again, this is the engine, the diesel lump that powered the T34, the SU-100 and other Soviet variants. I'm not going to claim to be a true expert on these. I only know that because of my limited knowledge of building them and my hours spent watching documentaries on various channels about the Second World War. And last sprue, these appear to be radiator grills, exhaust pipes, engine camshaft covers, and other bits and pieces. So that completes all the sprues. What we got here? I'm guessing these are the instructions. Let's open that up. We've got one option, as in Henry Ford. Any colour you want, so long as it's black. I'm guessing with the Russians, any colour you want, so long as it's green. Just build them and get them out on the battlefield. We don't care. They're not made to be pretty, they're made to be functional, and they're there to beat the Soviet devil invader. So, we don't care if they're pretty or not, we just want them to go bang bang and to protect the crew as much as possible. And make Mother Russia ours again, comrade. Oh, it's Russian green. You guessed that. But there we go. That's it. One colour stripe around on the top. I guess that's for aircraft recognizance, in the words of Winston Davis in Carry On England. That is for aircraft recognizance, lovely boy. Sorry for the impression. I'll stop that now. And again, Russian writing on the side. I have no idea what that says. It doesn't actually tell you here what it says, but this is from a variant from the Kursk Battle of 1943, from the 41st Guards Tank Brigade. So yes, I'm guessing the white stripe is for aircraft recognition, to avoid friendly fire from the flying tanks. But that's the only option, green or more green. So that goes in there. That's pretty easy to remember. Oh, very thin instruction book. Let me just reach across here and get back the Andy's Hobbies from my last build of the M8 Greyhound. And again, thank you to Andy. Some amazing instructions, really clear, really well drawn and printed. The only thing I would say is where you've got options like this, it would be nice, or I've probably missed it somewhere, that would explain what the options are before you've either got to go trawling through the book to find, because you can build 2 or 3 variants of this. And those of you that have done that will already know. Those of you that haven't, by the variants, I mean you've got different side compartments, apparently, that would differ from the age the vehicle was in the conflict. For example, on this variant, you can have the over turret machine gun, 50 caliber machine gun ring, and racks on the side for what I'm guessing are landmines. Whereas on the other, some of the later variant, you can build You have no over the turret ring, but the 50 caliber mounted on the back of the turret, and you've got compartments on either side, or lockers that I'm guessing would house said landmines or something similar. But again, it would be nice to have that written down in the beginning, so you don't go trawling through build and realise, oh bugger, I've done the wrong one, by which point it's too late to remove them. What I do like with Andy's Hobbies as well is that you get a figure. I have built him. He's stood up there on the shelf somewhere, so I won't reach up and get him, but that's enough about that instruction book. I was viewing the comparison to this one, which is considerably thinner, given that this one has a full oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't like these at all. And that's just my first impression. Oh god. I don't think I'm going to enjoy this. Oh, these are horrible. Should I release my inner Karen and say, I want to speak to the manager? These are bloody awful. But that's just my first impression. I think I've just been spoiled by my last build. My Greyhound. I don't like these at all. I'm going to say it's a good job I built another one, so I know where a lot of the pieces go. And it's a good job it's a Russian tank, so it's going to be very basic anyway. But I think for another sheet of paper, you could have made these larger. I mean, that could really go on one page on its own, regardless of the ammunition coil for the top of the machine gun. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a 2 out of 10. I mean, to be fair, credit where credit's due, they're nicely drawn, they are clear line drawings. But, here we go. It's magazine, machine gun magazine racks, which are all those photo etch pieces. So I did think they were ammunition, or they were connected to the ammunition of some description, but I thought similar to a couple of the Trumpeter Panzer IVs I've built, where they provide you with photo etch pieces to go on the bottom of each shell case. But obviously I was wrong. Final construction of the gun, mounting it into the turret, and then you sticking the turret on top. Not overly impressed with those instructions, but I'm sure it will become clear as I progress the kit, and one very single option of decals. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the unboxing of this Trumpeter T34 76. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find it informative, and I hope you actually go out and buy one of these things. If so, please do let me know. Let me know if my videos were inspiring enough, to allow you to actually go out and buy one of these and get building, especially in this larger scale. Because the more that are available, the more people, such as Mr. Andy, will decide to produce different and variable kits in this scale to make them far more enjoyable and far more readily available and at sensible prices. And I'm all for that. So, once again, this is David from The Modeller's Friend, thanking you so much for watching, for sticking with me, and again, for liking, commenting, following, sharing, and anything else you can think of to do with these videos. If you'd like to see me on a different platform other than YouTube, please do let me know. Whether you like to see some variable or edited variants on Facebook, or some 60-second shorts, some sped up videos. As soon as I've got my head around editing, I'll do exactly that. I promise I will. Fingers crossed, hope to die. Stick a modelling knife in my eye. But in the meantime, this concludes that video. As I say, I've got another Panzer IV unboxing. Well, no, my first Panzer IV unboxing video will be my next one. And then I might actually get around to doing a couple of trains. You know, heaven springs eternal, as they say. So anyway, that's David from the Modeller's Friend, thanking you once again for watching, and stay tuned for my next one. Happy modelling, people.